there.
We have lots of guys that were telling me all the time that I played with them. They're saying, you're on the ice so we don't have a chance to score goals. Now I'm behind the bench. I want to see if they can score some goals.
And you'll see how tough it was for Al Arbor.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I'm already got the routine, you know, lifting up the pants and brushing back the hair. You know, I still remember all the things that he used to do.
Well, it was a special night on May 24th when the championship was won. Let's go upstairs to Howie Rose, Joe Micheletti for the call of the alumni game.
All right, Matty, thank you. That's Brian Propp is going to take off the gear and then come upstairs and make an honest buck working as a radio broadcaster when the real Islanders, or at least today's Islanders, meet today's Flyers.
Now, he can still skate. We're not sure about number 9 right now. Clark Gillies has had a bad knee for a while and was limping around a little bit of a show a little bit earlier. This should be a lot of fun.
Gillies still managed to spin a few yarns in what passed as the Islander alumni locker room before the game this afternoon. We'll get to some of that stuff as we move along. They'll play 2 15-minute halves, if you will, with just a 5-minute intermission. So these legs will be tested some. The Islanders and the Philadelphia Flyers met in the 1980 Stanley Cup Finals, and that's the man, Bob Nystrom, at 7-11 of overtime, who scored the game winner against Pete Peters, who was the goaltender those days for Philadelphia. This is Patrick Flatley with Gillies on the rebound, stopped by Dave Parrow, and then a rebound shot by Randy Wood denied. So the Islanders getting some quick chances. This guy Parrow's a ringer.
Yeah.
All he ever played
under protest.
I would file the protest. He only played for Washington in his NHL career. Bob Daly, number 2 on defense for the Flyers. He's part of that famous picture when Nystrom scored the cup-winning goal. Bob Daly was the defenseman back for Philadelphia. If you have a real good look at that shot, you could see the eyes of Bob Daly heading towards the roof of Nassau Coliseum, a roof which was in the process of coming apart from the noise.
Gary Howard's first shift was like one he had never missed. Went out there the same way, forechecking, was in there digging for the puck, ended up with it.
Nystrom and Howard, they were an entry back then. And of course, these guys are playing contemporaries of yours. I'm sure you've got a lot of memories of going against these guys, too.
Well, when you think of the 20-year anniversary of the Islanders winning that Stanley Cup, their first cup in 1980, I remember playing for St. Louis. We had a pretty good team, a couple of pretty good teams back then in the early 80s, and trying to compete against the Islanders was something, because no matter what style you wanted to play to try and beat them, they were better than you at any style, whether it was a finesse game, a scoring game, a defensive game, a physical game. It didn't matter. They could beat you any way they wanted to.
Wouldn't it be funny if Mike Bossy came out here this afternoon and said to the guys, okay, we're going to trap? Thankfully, they haven't done that, as they had some scoring chances right at the beginning of this game. The best one, Patrick Flatley, and then Clark Gillies, stopped by the ringer, Dave Parrow.
Here's the initial shot. Look at this chance here by Clark Gillies. For all you youngsters watching out there, you got to shoot high when you're in close.
And Stan Fischler is working the Flyer bench.
Guys, I'm talking to Joe Watson. He is the playing coach of the team. Joe, you made a great play there right there.
Well, you know what? Isn't that incredible, the save I made, Stan? I didn't even know the puck hit my skate, but thank God it hit my skate, because you would have went in.
How do you like playing against these old Islanders?
You know what? It brings back a lot of memories, obviously, because we had a lot of battles and so on and so forth with them. So it certainly is nice to get back here and see a lot of my friends I haven't seen for a long time, and they certainly have a lot of good talent. They have a lot of talent here, so we got to work cut out for just like they have their work cut out for us.
Thanks a lot. Take it away, guys.
The Watson brothers. That was Joe. Also, his brother Jimmy played for that Flyer team that won back-to-back Stanley Cups in 1974 and then 1975. The Watson brothers out of Smithers, British Columbia. There's Brian Propp. He was a rookie in that 1979-80 season. That went off of Terry Hart, and Chico Resch just saw his life flash before his eyes.
Chico's going to be sore for a month. There go both groins.
Boy, he used to be so smooth. Gillies to the net. What up? Missed the rebound, too.
And then Gillies with the late punch. The officials didn't see it.
Wonder if Gillies will be looking for Ed Hospodar before it's over. Well, here's Clarkie again, and an easy save by Parrow. Clark Gillies and Ed Hospodar, of course, got involved in one of the more well-known intramural physical battles in New York hockey history when Hospodar was with the Rangers, and Clark Gillies just put him to sleep. Just turned his lights out at Madison Square Garden. And Hospodar and Gillies, ironically, would become teammates right near the end of Clark Gillies' career with the Buffalo Sabres. Butch Goring, checked there by Joe Watson.
Clark Gillies did that to a few players, didn't he?
We want to hear something funny?
Lights out.
They played together in Buffalo at the end of Clarkie's career. Gillies actually had Hospodar over for dinner one night. And right before Hospodar was about to leave, Clark's daughter, who was 8 at the time, goes up to him and says, "Mr. Hospodar, did you ever lose any teeth playing hockey?" And Clark, he couldn't resist. He told her the whole story.
Oh, boy.
"You mean Daddy did that to you?" "Daddy, you old brute."
Yeah, not my dad. He's so loving around the house.
This is Allison with Chico Aresh holding on to the goalpost, trying to hold off the short side.
No. He's trying to stand up. He's trying to stay up.
Ryan Propp tried to center. Once upon a time, Chico would have poked at that puck, but he's too busy holding on. Now it's Propp feeding Daly. Bobby Nystrom went after Daly, and now it's Gord Lane. Tonelli to Nystrom. Mike Bossy on the Islander bench is coach. Nystrom shot and a save by Parro.
Islanders look like they've been practicing.
Well, the Alumni does spend a lot of time playing at various functions, a lot of charitable hockey functions.
You know, the one thing that never leaves is their intelligence. Once you've got the understanding of being on the ice, where everyone should be, where to move the puck, even though you don't do it quite as quickly as you did in years past, you can just see it even watching from up here. Here's Brian Propp. There it goes off the stick. Look at Chico. I mean, his left leg was on the right side and his right leg was on the left side as he was falling down.
Matty Loughlin is standing beside the survivors on the Islander bench.
He's huffing and puffing just a little bit, but that's okay. Even the guys who were playing today after a shift have to catch their breath. Got to talk about that goal, of course, 7-11 of overtime. You still relive it still? I mean, obviously you talk about it and the guys are happy about it and all that sort of stuff, but how important was it to you and what does it mean to your career?
Well, you know what? It was everything. It changed my life, really. But thank God for the guy right there that's just going over, because all I had to do was lay my stick down and deflected it into the net. I got to tell you, he did all the work on it. So it has definitely changed my life.
Well, there it is, a goal for the Islanders to take the 1-0 lead. Harry, let's go back to you.
Did Mike Bossy have a look on his face like, well, it's about time? Clark could have the hat trick by now. Well, that's 1-0 for the Islanders as Clark Gillies gets the goal.
He's been the best player on the ice, and it ended up on his stick because he made such a terrible pass the first time that it hit the defenseman. Watch the pass that he tries to make coming up here. It'll hit the defenseman's skate. That wouldn't have been close, and right back to him, and he took the shot.
That's a set play.
Perfect play.
Set play. They work on that.
He's trying to hit Wayne Merritt going to the net and gets the puck right back.
To Clark Gillies, the Stanley Cup was a personal possession for 4 straight years. More on Geico Islanders Game Night in a moment.
You're watching Geico Islanders Game Night. A 15-minute call can save you 15%. 1-800-947-AUTO.
We all do dumb things. Paying too much for car insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. We all do dumb things. Paying too much for car insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This Week in New York Sports History is brought to you by the History Channel, where the past comes alive.
On February 26, 1992, Pat Riley returns to L.A. as Nick coach. The Lakers win 81-68. Brian Scott had 22 points. James Worthy had 27 to lead L.A. to victory.
I'm free to do what I want any old time.
labor ready, dependable temporary labor.
This week in New York sports history is brought to you by the History Channel, where the past comes alive.
On February 26, 1992, Pat Riley returns to L.A. as Nick coach. The Lakers win 81-68. Brian Scott had 22 points. James Worthy had 27 to lead L.A. to victory.
On Geico Islanders game night, we pick up the Alumni game in the second half. The Isles leading the Flyers 4-1. Here's Howie and Joe.
Well, Randy Wood's thinking about playing in the NHL and helping them pad out to 30 teams next year. I don't know if this can be considered anything even resembling a legitimate audition, but he certainly looks svelte and pretty good. Flatly denied. Coin is not. There's one for the coach. And now he can get the last word tonight.
Did you see me? Did you see how I did that? I went to the net. I had my stick on the ice. I looked for the rebound, and I put it up high. That's what I've been trying to tell you guys to do. Tonelli with the starts it off, just throws it at the net. One chance by Flatley, and look at Butch scoring. That thing just underneath the crossbar and in.
See Tonelli's pants there, different shade. You see Flatley's pants there, totally different color. Tonelli is wearing Quebec Nordique's pants, the last team for whom he played. Well, we really got to give Flatley the business here. You know, the last team Flatley played for was the Rangers. And he's wearing Ranger pants.
What's he doing? Look at him. Nice to see Pat Flatley coming to town for this, along with Mike Bossy. Most of the players live here in the area, but Pat Flatley wanted to come in and participate in this. It was interesting. I was at their luncheon this afternoon, Howie, and they were all gathered around the cup for some pictures this afternoon. Let's go down to Matt Loughlin, who's with a bunch of the guys. Matty.
Oh, we pick it up with 9:28 to go. 5-1, the Islanders on top, and Pat Flatley, you know, catching his breath here. Got to ask you, how do you come to an Islanders alumni game wearing those pants and that helmet?
Well, there's a rule amongst alumni. The team that you retire with, you grab what you can and you run. For my last squad, so that's what the equipment I ended up with.
Any of the guys ride you a little bit about it?
Oh, yeah, but we tried to get some pants. I felt a little bit funny about it, but it was just too short of time period to get into full Islander gear.
Fair enough. Now, what about Butchie not wearing a helmet? I mean, what's up with that? I mean, that's what he's known about.
Well, it was either he had to buy a helmet or not wear a helmet, so Butchie chose to not wear one. Because he's had the same one for 35 years or whatever, right? So he's pretty superstitious about it, so I guess he'd prefer not to wear one.
Or buy one, so the old deep pocket short arms theory comes into play.
I don't know. Probably.
Fair enough. All right, guys, back up to you.
Patrick Flatley, of course, just missed the Cup years. He did come to the Islanders after the 1984 Olympics. He was with the University of Wisconsin, played for the Canadian Olympic team. Ryan Propp has given the Flyers their second goal. It's 5-2, and now he's got something to crow about on the air tonight.
Delayed reaction. He didn't know it was in. Took the pass from Jason Berge from behind the net. Look at this pass. Perfect. And Propp with the shot, doesn't know it's in. Look, he's still looking. Ah, there it is.
During his days too.
Terrific goal scorer. One of the best left wings to play for the Flyers, and certainly in their history. By the way, did you see Reggie Leach take the shot about 2 minutes ago from just inside the blue line? Huh, he hasn't lost anything.
That's how you score 60 goals.
Wow.
Jean Potvin. And now Bob Kelly for the Flyers. Trying to get it away from Hart, put it in front. Joe Spinelli, number 32, unable to poke it past Chico.
Jerry Hart's changed his defensive tactics as well. Did you see that last one?
Oh, Chico kissed the goalpost. You got to kiss the post, just like he did in the playoffs against Pittsburgh. You could hear it ring behind the Islander goaltender. And once upon a time, the first year the Islanders were in the playoffs, that happened against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Chico gave the pipe a little kiss. Randy Wood looking for Henning. And the chant of Chico. It's like old times. John Tonelli centering. Court Lane was in deep. That didn't happen very often.
Little change of style going on here.
Did you have anything even resembling a running individual battle with any of these players on the ice during your playing days? I don't even mean where it led to fisticuffs necessarily, but just where you always kind of got on each other's nerves on the ice.
Yeah, well, you know, back in the '81 season, I've watched Reggie Leach.
Chico took the angle away. Great play, Chico.
Back in the '81 season, when I was in St. Louis, all season long we battled to see who was going to be #1, and in those days it was, you know, it was a balanced schedule, and we fought all season, had some great games against the Islanders, and they ended up finishing the season #1 overall in the league, and we finished #2. So from a team standpoint, we had some tremendous games with the Islanders. And I remember playing Butchie against Butchie in particular. And there's Flatley with his Ranger gear on, scores a goal. But Butch Goring in particular, I used to play against him a lot because I would play the power play for St. Louis, and of course he'd kill the penalties, and you know, he's one player that stood out in that situation because he was so difficult to play against. He never gave you time to make plays, and now he's setting up goals. Look at this, Tonelli, Goring, Flatley. Keep the gear on, guys. Get ready for 7 o'clock tonight. It's been a pretty good line. Look at him forechecking, passing, communicating, and Flatley finishes it off.
I remember thinking it must have been an awfully long season when you were as good as the Islanders were and you knew you were going to be in the playoffs. That was never in question. I remember wondering even earlier this year to Butch Goring what it must have felt like, how slowly those days must have ticked off the calendar, waiting for the games to really mean something in April and May. And he said, no, he said, you know, you might think that way, but it flew by because we were so good. We had so much fun. Every game was so enjoyable. The schedule just flew by.
Well, and every team was up for them every game. So they had to battle every game. And let's not forget, you know, the great coaching job that Al Arbor did to change things around, keep players thinking about the game, playing mind games with them to get them ready for the playoffs.
Nystrom and Howitt also came up at the end of that first. And Lauren Henning, number 10. So they really could appreciate the long road to the Stanley Cup. An expansion team in 1972 till 1980 when they won the first of 4 straight, including 19 consecutive playoff series, and that record might have been snapped against the Pittsburgh Penguins if not for the heroics of John Tonelli in 1982. John is standing by downstairs with Matt Loughlin.
Yeah, one of the heroes of that Game 6, and Bobby Nystrom told us earlier, all he had to do was put it home. You're the key to that play, that brilliant pass.
Well, it was a play that we developed in practice, and it just seemed the right time for it, and it was well executed, and Bobby was in the right place, and all I had to do was give it to him, and it was a tough deflection for him to make, but you know, he did a good job at it.
All right, of course, that means Game 6 goes your way in the Stanley Cup Championship. Any thoughts as to what might have happened had the Flyers won in overtime and there was a Game 7?
Boy, I don't want you to think about that. You know, this is a game of momentum change, and it certainly would have shifted the momentum in their favor. And you know, you get a lot of adrenaline going and pumping, and when you're playing for the whole thing, you know, it certainly helps you.
How much fun are you having?
I'm having a lot of fun. Good to see the guys again.
And it's good to hear from Howie and Joe. Back upstairs, guys.
Boy, you know, you just reminded me. I wonder what might have been. Do you know if the Islanders would not have won that 6th game? And Matty just brought up the possibility of going into Philadelphia for Game 7. Remember, the Islanders had lost difficult playoff series in '78 to Toronto and in '79 to the Rangers. And maybe if they didn't beat Philadelphia, Bill Torrey might have made a trade that would have changed the chemistry, changed the look of this Islander team. And who knows how history might have been rearranged if not for the events of May 24, 1980.
Yeah, it's amazing how one game can change the way general managers and coaches and players think.
Flatley with Tonelli here. Tonelli goes to the net. Is unable to tee it up the first time. John Potvin just pulling in for a drive. John looked
Came
like
in late.
He was on the 5-11 for Babylon. Flatley again. Barrow committed. And Brian Propp with 1:35 to go. The Islanders leading 6-2. Very nice turnout for this alumni game. It started at 5 o'clock. Today's Islanders and Flyers begin at 7. Say they've got 6,000 people or so here. I'm not real good at making those estimates. But
no, it's a good crowd. They're enjoying this.
And they have a sellout for tonight's main event between the Islanders and the Philadelphia Flyers. Brian Propp around the net. We're coming down to the final minute. Who's going to win this race? Shell Samuelson.
Howie, and I think back to those teams of the 80s that the Islanders had, and even just listening to John Tonelli and thinking back about playing against him and Bob Nystrom. You know, these were players that were considered gritty, tough players, but at the same time, they were good hockey players. I mean, they could play. I mean, Bobby Nystrom was one of the tougher players in the game. But he worked and worked on his game to become a player that could play on a regular basis in the National Hockey League. And playing against them, I mean, they just, you know, you go on the ice, and if it's not the Trottier line, then the next line, you know, they just keep coming at you.
20 seconds to go. Randy Wood in for a shot. Harrow trying to hold on. Wood says no. And it's 7-2 Islanders. They'll stop the clock this time with 15.2 seconds to go.
This guy's a brilliant coach. Mike Boss, Randy Wood gets a hat trick. I think Perreault ended up knocking that into his own net. He took the shot. Perreault made the stop, but watch as he tries to. Look at the puck. He just knocks it into his own net with a little help of Shell Samuelson.
Let's go downstairs to Stan Fischler on the Flyers bench.
Thanks very much, Reggie Leach. You still seem to have that great slap shot. You haven't lost it, have you?
Oh, yeah, it's a little slower. It just takes me a little longer to get it off.
Are you enjoying this game?
Oh, this is wonderful. This is great. It's good for hockey. Come out there. You got two great teams out there, so it's entertaining for everybody.
Well, you guys just scored. Chico Resch is beatable, isn't he?
Well, what do you think? We've got 2 seconds to go. Do you think we could pull the goaltender tied?
Take it away, guys. They haven't lost their humor, have they?
Well, 7-3 with 2 seconds to go. Chico Resch, a marvelous performance in goal. Remember, Brian Propp is a sniper.
Look at that shot. Chico did everything right. Came out of the net, cut down the angle, and Brian Propp with a perfect shot. Oh, this was wonderful, wasn't it? This was terrific to see these players out here having fun. And it really makes you think of some of the great things they did when they were in their prime.
Awesome.
Elmo, Big Bird, Cookie Monster, Bert and Ernie are on stage in Sesame Street Live's all-new extravaganza, Elmo's Coloring Book.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the show.
90 minutes of rip-roaring fun. Be a part of the happy sing-along songs and razzle-dazzle dancing. It's Sesame Street Live's all-new Elmo's Coloring Book.
Join the fun at the theater at Madison Square Garden now through February 27th. Great seats still available at the Garden box office and at all Ticketmaster locations.
At Geico, we work 24 hours a day. Fortunately, we're equipped for the job. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Am I on? Geico Direct could save you hundreds of dollars on car insurance. Result?
Smaller bill.
Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more.
This Week in New York Sports History is brought to you by the History Channel, where the past comes alive.
On February 26, 1992, Pat Riley returns to L.A. as Nick coach. The Lakers win 81-68. Brian Scott had 82 points. James Worthy had 27 to lead L.A. to victory.
You've been watching Geico Islanders Game Night. A 15-minute call can save you 15%. 1-800-947-AUTO.
Well, at the end of the game, the two teams got together for a team photo. That's slightly different from what took place 20 years ago when the Islanders won the Stanley Cup. We're joined by Chico Resch, the #1 star is voted by the media, so congratulations on that.
That's you and Stan, right? You know, Manny, we were really ripping around out there. We were ripping hamstrings and groins and biceps. But I just want to put in a disclaimer. The Chico Resch of the year 2000 is in no way representative of the former Chico Resch from 1980. I might have hit it pretty well, but there was some. It was a lot of work just to get around the crease.
Well, you know, I was talking about the fact that the team picture at the end wasn't similar to what happened 20 years ago, but the standing ovation by the fans and the victory by the Islanders was similar. And I know athletes, it doesn't matter if it's an alumni game or for the Stanley Cup championship, winning is what it's all about.
Oh, hey, I said to Gary Howe, like, I'm 51. I said, Howie, I'll play when they ask me, but are you going to guarantee a victory? Can you be Joe Namath? He said, I guarantee a victory. And you know what was funny, though, Matty? What was neat for me, at least, was all these guys I played against, right? Being a goalie, you're standing and you're watching all their little mannerisms and the things they do. And even though they're done at a little slower pace now, it just all came back. I said, oh, yeah, Jerry Hart, he turns like that on that play. And, you know, Johnny Potvin, I was killing Johnny Potvin. He was closing the gap, meaning he didn't leave much room between the forwards attacking and himself because he was so slow. He couldn't get back fast enough, so he was closing the gap well. And but it was just really neat to see how all the same mannerisms are there, but speed isn't quite the same.
Well, it slowed down a little bit, but one other thing that was the same, the cry of Chico from the crowd, the fans appreciating Chico Resch's effort. The Islanders win. They beat the Alumni from Philadelphia today. It was wonderful to cover. We got another game to go. We'll have that when we come back. The Isles and Flyers tonight.
We're #1.
The wonder of it all. Take a chance, make it happen. Pop the cork, finger snapping. Spin the wheel, round and round we go. Life is good, life is sweet. Grab yourself a front row seat and let's meet and have a ball. Yeah, let's live for the wonder of it all. Paradise, lucky 7, cut yourself a piece of heaven. You and me, we can have it all. Living large, get on board. This is it, it's your reward. Let's meet where the trees are standing tall. Yeah, let's live for the wonder of it all. Meet me at Foxwoods.